This video is to illustrate the work completed by Metro Toyota of Cleveland for the BXD campaign. They're supposed to inspect the frame, the rear cross members. Upon what they find, they have a guide on what to do. The guide clearly states instructions if they find holes and or corrosion in the red area to replace the cross member, in the green areas to replace the frame. Now, before they're supposed to do this, their determination, this is their specification sheet from Toyota of how they're supposed to clean the frame to inspect it, using scraper or chisel to remove all rust and loose rust scales from the frame. And it clearly says if rust perforation of 10 millimeter or larger and or component corrosion damage is found during the rust removal process, proceed to the appropriate campaign for repairs. To clean the frame, it tells them to use a wire brush to remove any remaining dirt from the frame. Any deviation will be subject to the warranty claim debit. So I purchased this truck in May, and before I purchased it from a private dealer, I took it to Metro to have the frame inspected. They told me that it needed the frame, and it would be completed under warranty. So when I took it up there in May or April, they had no recollection of me being there, and which turns out because they had my last name spelled wrong. But they re-inspected it and said it just needed a rear cross member. So when I got it back, they did undercoat it, as you can see. But I was going to replace the bumpers before I had it painted. And I wanted to see what it was entail of removing the bumpers. And I found this awesome frame corrosion. It's like that on each side of the frame rails. Each one of the rails where the front bumper meets is completely rotted off. So I decided to start looking more. And you can see my finger coming through the frame where it welds to the body mount. Now, I don't know if you could hear. Obviously they didn't remove any of the rust scaling, because this is what my driveway looks like after removing some of it. So you clearly see that they didn't do nothing before they undercoated it. So I decided to inspect even further. Right here the frame's normal size. Right here it's half gone. This is right where it mounts to the rear cross, or the one of the gas tank cross members, the first one in the green area. Yeah. You see over here, big chunks of rust just come off. Look at these. Some of these are small. Some of these are really thick. I'm not saying every chunk of rust is huge. That's not my claim here. But some of them are really huge. And some of them are literally pretty thick. I mean, it's as thick as in the midsection. It's thicker than a quarter. As you can see, they did not even attempt to even spray that area. So shame on Metro Toyota for claiming they did something right when they clearly did not, and the stuff doesn't even hold up. My sister and my niece just bought 3 cars there in the last 6 months, and they're happy. If you ever think I would refer another Toyota, Scion, or Lexus product again, absolutely crazy. Especially after them treating me the way they have with saying everything's fine. So as you can see on my driveway, all the rust chunks. Let's not forget about the sidewalls where you can stick screwdrivers through. This is a factory hole, so I'm not disputing that one. That's a factory hole. I mean, I can go under this whole frame and just so if I'm finding this on the areas that are right there, I guess the only way I'll be able to tell the areas way up in here is by taking off the bed, which if I have to, I will take off the bed and videotape the top of the frame rail. I'm sure it will not be pretty, but if it's what I got to get it done. And next step will just be contacting a news channel and legal advice on how to handle this, because it clearly shows in the campaign where the rust areas, if they're rotted, severely rotted. I think the light might be too bright. I mean, you can see the depth in it by the angle of the shadow. That's not severely rotted. You can almost stick your finger through where this little factory hole was, but it doesn't go all the way through the frame from the factory. It almost does now. Let me see if I can get in there with the flashlight. The frame looks like it's in layers, like it's actually like a bakery or something. There's a chunk over here which is really big, but I can't really get at the right angle to get it out. Let me try. You can stick the screwdriver behind the frame. This is in between the frame. I can't really get it out because I'm at a weird angle. But this chunk is huge. as you can see, all the way up, wherever they said they did their job correctly, obviously they didn't. It's more or less they just did what they can get the quick money from Toyota and left it at that. I mean, you could just all day long, the whole frame, as you can see right here, so where they said they did their proper frame inspection, I have no idea. They didn't spray the rear frame up even on top. Let me take you to some of the other areas. That's Metro Toyota's idea of a correct campaign to apply undercoating, which everybody knows if you apply undercoating to rust, it's just going to trap the moisture and rust even further. They did replace the rear cross member. If it was done right or not, who knows? I couldn't tell you. I do know that the frame was not properly inspected. It is severely corroded. Once again, I spoke to Tiffany at customer care and her supervisor, and they said, well, according to the pictures, that this job was done right and that there are not severely rust or rot in the sections in question of the BXD campaign, which is totally false. I just think at this point, Toyota doesn't want to do the job correct. Where you wipe it off around here, you can see where the frame has separation. It's like, it looks like it's like a 6 or 7 layer cookie, and you could just stick the screwdriver in it and peel the frame sections apart. Once again, these are the areas of the side wall of the rear portion of the frame where cross members are. That nobody seems to want to take accountability for. Let me see if I can get up under here and show you how the frames I don't know if you can see where the frame's separating in layers. Some of it are 2 or 3 layers, some of it are 5, 6, 7 layers. But where it's separating, where the cross members mount, obviously we all can see that that was not removed with a wire brush. There's a section up here you can stick a screwdriver through. So now that I'm dealing with the executive part of Toyota. I'm hoping that somebody there can actually deal with this and make this right by a customer who used to brag about their product and how great it was, and who no longer brags about Toyota and how great their product was. Now, it says to check where the frame is, the cross members are mounted, and if it's severely corroded there. If that's not severely corroded, I mean, I don't know what somebody's idea of severely corroded is. This is how thick the frame was. And then when it gets over to this area, you just peel it apart. I mean, this is where one of the rear cross members is. You see there's a hole back there. That's a factory hole. Well, it's actually not a it's from the factory. It's not a complete hole, but it's almost a complete hole. Give me a second. This is kind of hard to do under here on the ground without a lift. This is what they say they've done. They completed it to their specs, to Toyota specs. You can see up there, there's a chunk of like half the frame is missing. Like right here, it's normal size.